Hi, this is Alex S. Johnson, and I'm reading a piece that was published in the Death Jazz collection from Schwibley Press. And this was originally published in the magazine Vial. And it's called Julia Kristeva's Head. Virtual Yakuza float by in serial array, their hands mimicking rainbows. Julia Kristeva's head floats by the unblinking simulacra of Rodin and Swinburne, cut down to size in a fog of semiosis. The reporter whirls, his eyes mist. Is that Julia Kristeva's head? I don't believe it. Swarm. What dream angle should I take, he asked. Diagonal cobalt gun barrels infinitely refracted in her hive eyes. Which would you prefer, she mouthed through black jelly lips. Juggled through massive distortion, his face finally hit the infinite. A thick mass of decocted objection moved silently and smoothly through the flash-frozen air. Objection, like rum, never truly freezes. It prefers to wait for you in a jellied solution. So says post-structuralist superbrain Julia Kristeva, who is not actually French, before pushing her head through a plate glass window. Many of the newer generation prefer the poetry of the sword to the savage opera of typewriters. Her proposed triggers included some sort of alchemical jive about underwater languages and perfumes cut from silver cloth. Outrageous pantomimes from World War I smear red like rainy neon and then lean heavily against the bar. I'm sick of this war, says the GI. He spits a gout of blood on the countertop. Is that a floating signifier, or are you just happy to see me? The reporter looks up. It's Mae West, heavily deconstructed. The GI looks up. Well, hello, doll. Say, things are looking up. A paradise of vermin, announces the newsreel reporter. Large gray rats storm from the sewers, seeking to spread infection, but get instead inoculation and sitz baths from dedicated animal rights activists. It's a story that could never be told with enough emphasis. A blast of trumpets accents this last sentence. A Knight of the Rosy Cross finishes his lunch and burps discreetly. Hey, buddy, you gonna wipe that off, says the bartender, whose shoulders begin around his ears. I tell you I'm sick of it, says the private, projectile vomiting blood to the mirror behind the bartender. So's everybody, so's your mother, so's the world, but we gotta beats the Huns, I'm telling you. His friend sounds like Spencer Tracy on helium. Is your friend going to wipe the blood off my mirror and my bar, says the bartender, but nobody is paying attention by this point. Moving quickly and jerkily like an undercranked policeman in some early Hal Roach movie, the two men lift our hero from his bar stool and pound him senseless. Too late, the guy was a goner anyway. His brain fluid leaks out from behind his ear. The barkeeper raises up his hands like a messianic Popeye. Has the world gone insane, he cries. Come with us, buddy, you're going to the great beyond, said the cops in unison. They pitched the poor jerk into a refrigerator in the back storeroom. You can cool your heels in there. Fractal insects swarmed the windshield. A relationship between this type of scatterbrained intellectual and his necktie cannot long endure, the reporter concluded, finishing his cigar and eyeing it suspiciously like it would suddenly sprout wings, like some two-bit phallus in a Henry Miller novel. It is said that one will out, and it's frequently the necktie. He waggles the cigar, a la Groucho. Fractal insects swarm the windshield. What are you talking about, necktie? Are you going to order a drink or what? The bartender slaps the man a couple of times. Wearily, the customer orders a double bourbon with some painkillers back. I ran out of my prescription for Vicodin, he says, so just give me a drink. The reporter whirls around, his eyes foggy. Is that Julia Kristeva's head? I don't believe it. The head rains down heavy abjection. Black tears ooze down her cheeks. China was a signifying space, waiting to be filled. The reporter sticks his mic to the hovering lips. Hey, speak into this thing. Aren't you the recently detached head of a noted French linguist, psychoanalyst, and literary critic? The head of Julia Kristeva palpates and explodes in a shower of green neon sparks. I'll take that as a yes, says the reporter, busily writing down her response in a spiral-bound notebook. J.K.'s noggin duplicates in its non-linear fashion the fractured syntax of Schrödinger's physics. And you're strictly non-linear today, observes the reporter astutely. Windshield, she says. The head of Julia Kristeva disappears backwards in time like a tachyon. Our hero is doomed perpetually to try and finish an interview with the detached head of a prominent French intellectual that is constantly traveling backwards in time. A second later she reappears. Fortunately, there is no overlap between these units of eternity, and the reporter is unaware he is caught in a temporal glitch. Hit me, says J.K. suddenly, her lips frothing. Actor and auteur, the ruggedly still handsome, even though he's your grandparents' age, Robert Redford pulls his hat over his eye and spits into the wind. Right now I'm working on a movie that's kind of an adaptation of the Hindu epic, the Chandi, which is really almost the apocalypse in Eastern terms. It's very visual, very organic. We're thinking of Will Smith to play Kali, the dark goddess. Wink of cameras on overdrive. Bomb! Hit me, he cries wearily to the celebrity, who punches him with a closed fist. Oh, that'll settle your hash, reporter. He talks like a bad guy out of some 1940s gangster movie. A spontaneous contretemps emerges, the movie star bearing down on the tabloid reporter with a hammer claw. He brings it down on the reporter's head, driving the claw into his scalp, which jets blood. Hit me, said Viola, the genetic fairy, uncoiling her DNA like some Mebius striptease artist. Oedipal rainbows detach and swim through murky caverns inset with seeing eye dogs. Insects.